right, welcome back to another episode of the cast. This is episode 6 already, and this is I got Jeremy Pierce with me again. He's our Bass Tournament Director, and we're going to just talk about the 2023 season. Jeremy, welcome back.
Thanks for having me again. It seems like we were just doing that, man.
I know.
I absolutely love that intro. That is great.
You know, it's a lot of energy, but I think it's good.
It is hard not to like tap your foot to that music, man. That is awesome.
Yeah, I had a lot of time this winter thinking about fishing while you guys were all out on the ice doing all your ice fishing. I didn't do that this year. I just got pumped up for when the ice went away. So we're almost there. That's where those videos came from. And let's get into it. This one's going to be a short and sweet video. We're going to discuss the dates for the tournaments, which all that's obviously posted, but we're going to go into a little more detail, some highlighted ones to definitely check out that you don't want to miss. We're going to talk about our monthlies, and no one better to have here than one of the tournament directors himself. So, Jeremy, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. So we'll start out with the monthlies, since that is literally coming up right around the corner. That actually kicks off our tournament season April 1st. We're going to have both bass and trout this year. We're not going to do the walleye. We just didn't have enough interest recurring last year from it. So we're going to stick with bass and trout. And those are going to run every month from April through September. And then there's been some talks about doing some kind of kicker tournaments, some fun stuff. So we may tinker around with that just a little bit. But the monthlies are just about having a good time, getting out there. We did drop the price down to $30 for the entry. So $20 for any series. It doesn't matter which series entry you have. That gets you into the monthly eligibility for either bass or trout. And then $30 to get into the trout or bass tournament. And that's an entire month of just fun fishing, doing what you want. Motors are allowed. Mouth open is allowed, both in the trout and the bass side. So really, it's just to encourage people to get out there, have fun, especially if you're going to be pre-fishing for our in-person tournaments anyways, or if you want to do the bass tournament in conjunction with KBF. Just remember that KBF is mouth closed. We are not for our monthlies. So you do have to snap another quick picture. But I know a couple guys that did that last year, didn't have any issues, and they were winning both our monthlies and KBFs. So it's definitely doable. But yeah, like I said, it's the monthlies are really something for the charity. We're helping to give back, but then also to encourage some of our newer members that might not be ready to do the in-person tournaments. Those are kind of a big commitment, but give them an opportunity to get out there, compete. Maybe they've got an Old Town autopilot and they're not even eligible to do the in-persons. Things like that. Just trying to expand and get everybody as involved in CKFC as we can. Just because this club is all about giving back and giving opportunities, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and if you're doing a monthly, if you're doing a live tournament, especially like the trout ones, if you're doing a tournament up in 11 Mile or Spinney during that month, if you're doing a live tournament, you might as well just go ahead and do the monthly as well. They're super cheap, and if you have my luck, you're probably going to catch a bigger fish on your pre-fish day up there. So you'll actually have that to throw in for the monthly on top of the fish from the tournament as well. So then it's a great cause. But yeah, if you're doing live tournaments, you can have both identifiers up while you're taking your pictures, one for the live, one for the monthly, and that's how that works. So.
Yeah, it's just an awesome opportunity, and having those, especially with the cost drop down $20 this year, it brings it out to more people available to throw a little money at it, and little side pot to make pre-fishing a little hotter.
Yeah.
So jump into the live schedule, man. This is the meat and potatoes. This is the feast de resistance for the club. What a lot of us are about is that in-person tournament. Not just the competition side of it, but getting to meet everybody, getting to meet Matt last year at the tournaments, finding out that he lives right down the road from me. We got a lot of similar interests, stuff like that. It's phenomenal. The camaraderie in this club is second to none. And you really see that when we get out on the in-person tournaments and, people start talking and sharing information. It's just a fantastic time getting out there and learning, constantly learning new stuff about fishing and about what my limitations are on the water. And that is starting next month. So April 15th and 16th, we're heading out to John Martin. We pushed that one as early in the season as possible, just because they suffer from a lot of spring drawdowns. Last year, unfortunately, we got there right when they had about a 3.5 to 4 foot drawdown in a week. So that hurt us.
Yep.
We had a big cold front. So we're hoping things will maybe stabilize a little bit and we can get out there before fish get to the bank and then push off due to a drawdown. Because if anybody saw what Jim Malcolm did in the KBF monthly last year, just a week and a half or so before our live tournament, it was phenomenal. And then it just completely shut down. So we're trying to get there before that. So a little change this year for our multi-species. We talked with Justin Collins, and we're going to do 3 bass, both black bass and white bass hybrid, 2 walleye, and everybody's favorite, 1 freshwater drum. So if you've thrown a Ned rig on John Martin, you know that there's thousands of drum out there. And some of them, I think it was Ronnie last year, caught a near state record freshwater drum that was like 29 or 30 inches. The thing was monstrous. So that awesome. That has potential, especially on the multi-species side, to just be a absolute blast of a tournament. And also, if you have an opportunity to get out there a little bit early, I think a few of us are going to go out there and try to slaughter some crappie, throw them in the fryer. So, like I said, the camaraderie in the club, that's a big part of it. So anybody, if y'all see us out there just slaughtering crappie on Friday, come out there and join us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of a cool thing too. Like, not really part of the discussion here, but a lot of these places have campgrounds out there. So there'll be several of us out there camping. It's a great way to meet people. I was new to the club last year, and some of the best friends that I've got in Colorado come from this club. So definitely get out there and introduce yourself.
Yep. Moving on from the April tournaments, we go into May. May 20th and 21st at Pueblo. So when we have the weekend tournaments, we try to swap a couple of them throughout the year, depending on how many we have. So that one, Saturday is actually going to be the multi-species, rolling into Sunday for the bass. We do ask those of you that are fishing the bass only, please be respectful of those fishing the multi-species tournament on Saturday. We typically have 10 to 15 more bass anglers for the tournament. So just be respectful when you go out there pre-fishing, because you've got guys that are going out there to compete that day. But if you're only going to make a handful of tournaments throughout the year, put a star on this one. Yeah. Pueblo in May, dude. I think that is one of the most absolutely fun times to fish that lake. Those bass are absolutely on fire. I've had 60, 70 fish days on Pueblo during May, anywhere from mid to late May. The smallmouth just are hammering everything that moves, and the walleye fishing is phenomenal. They're moving, they're feeding, and they're just a ton of fun to catch at that lake. Yeah. So we got multi-species on Saturday and bass on Sunday. So that is going to be just an absolute great time, and judging is going to be a hectic event. Matt, you ready for Pueblo in May?
So last year I missed the multi. I only got to the bass one because I had some work stuff going on. But I think I caught, probably 50 smallmouth and like a dozen walleye out there that day. It was probably the best day of fishing I'd had in the last year, probably. Yeah,
it is absolutely killer that time of year. The next one that we roll into is the last of our big weekends. That goes June 10th and 11th at Trinidad. So that is It really depends on the water level at Trinidad. It can fish a little small sometimes if they start dropping water early. If they're still gaining, which they've got a lot of snow in the mountains, so I'm hoping they have a long gaining season this spring. That fishery, especially on the bass side, is just really good. I remember one of my first tournaments was Trinidad, and Michael Archuleta throwing a jig. He put up one of the best limits I've seen in Colorado in one of our live tournaments. And just every single fish that he got was like my 18.5 last year. They were just absolute monster footballs. And it was like every single one. But the years that they've been drawing down a little earlier, they're still good fish to be caught. You just really have to pattern them out. But then the multi-species side, again, that's one of the funnest tournaments that you're going to have. The walleye in Trinidad, it's second to none in the state. I think a couple of years ago, we had 4 people that caught walleye over 29 inches, and it was just absolutely crazy.
I think she wanted to be on the show here. Yeah. Good. All right. Good night, sweetheart. Love you.
You got to get her in the kayak soon.
I know. Yeah, we'll get her out there this year. So she was catching crappie with me last year at John Martin.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So moving on from Trinidad in June, July 15th, we go to Horsetooth. We had kind of mixed feelings doing Horsetooth in July. It's a prime boater time, but it's also a really good time for the smallmouth there. They're really feeding up post spawn, just hitting those points and stuff like that is just a phenomenal time to fish for them. So we do say, there's going to be a lot of boats out there. Know your bounds, be safe, have a flag, do whatever, make sure that you're seen. I've always kept a yellow kayak. My Outback was yellow. My Pro Angler that I grabbed this year is yellow. I like having the bright banana boat, but I've still had close calls. So just be careful. Any lake that we go to in the summer, we're going to have the boaters out there, but Horsetooth in particular, as you're going out there to some of the main lake points, those boaters can get a little rowdy. So just be careful out there.
Yeah.
Then the next one after that, July 29th at Spinney, get your hair jigs ready. So, again, with that one, be careful. Spinney does have their rules about salt and scent, no live bait, no salt and scent in your soft plastics, anything like that. But man, jerk baits, flicker shads, hair jigs, anything that you want to put out there, there's going to be a pike and a trout to hit it. Last year, the weed line was coming up a bit late. We're hoping that the weed line will be a little bit more steady this year. Come up a little bit earlier. We pushed a little bit later in July this year to try to catch it just right. Man, when those weed lines are solid out there and you troll up at the edges and stuff, it's phenomenal time.
Yeah, and a little shout out to Jake's Lure Joint. If you are looking for unscented, unsalted baits to use at Spinney or 11 Mile, his tubes they go like crazy. I don't even know how many hundreds or thousands of tubes this dude's been making for like lake trout, but he can make pretty much whatever you want, and it actually is unsalted. There's some packages now that they don't even put their ingredients out there, so you don't know, but you'll know with him. We did an episode with him talking about kind of like the different action and stuff as well, but he's also sponsoring the club, giving away some baits and a good discount code. So check them out.
Yep. Yeah, that'll be a good time. And the next one is one that is, after this past year, a little bit more near and dear to my heart. So September 16th, we go back out to 11 Mile. So we've got almost a month off, with the full month in August. Then we roll out again to South Park to 11 Mile. Man, I had never fished South Park in September. And now I almost don't want to fish any other time other than maybe ice fishing. That tournament was it was phenomenal. I mean, not just for me, a lot of people were catching big fish, but for me, that was literally my first ever limit at 11 Mile. So I can't complain.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you're interested in seeing, I got it pulled up from the last one. So let's pull this guy up here. So if you're like, hey, I don't know if I want to drive up, go up there. Look at this thing.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long that is. Your board's 32 inches. So
Yeah, the board's 32. From the picture, I think you got a picture from the side that shows the tail a little bit better where it's hanging off. She's about 10 inches longer than the board. So she's big. She's not my longest pike. I did catch a longer one in Alaska when I was stationed up there, but she is by far my heaviest pike. She probably outweighed the one I caught in Alaska was close to 48 inches, but it was a pencil. This one weighed probably 7 to 10 pounds more than that one.
Yeah. And,
I mean, she was absolutely thick, and man, it was a Cast King spinning rod, spinning reel that I had on an Abu rod, and it was everything I could do to pull her up out of the weeds. Every time I got a little bit of line on her, she'd take it back out. And I mean, it wasn't just her. I mean, I caught a 29 and a 28 also throughout the day. The trout was fantastic. I mean, you couldn't go, 50 to 100 yards without hitting another trout on a bait, whether it was a flicker shad or a hair jig. It didn't matter. Anything I put out was getting hit if you find the right weed lines, and they were just super active. I don't know if that's their time that they feed up before the ice starts hitting. Maybe they knew something, but man, that was phenomenal. That was a different 11 mile than what I'm used to.
Yeah, it was awesome out there, and we were talking about pre-fishing, the monthlies too. But yeah, I was trolling 2 lines because you can on the multis, and I doubled up with 2 23-inch trout. It's just incredible out there. Like this is just one of those places that if you didn't live in Colorado, this is like a destination place for people to come to for the pike and trout that are out there. So. And it's just absolutely gorgeous out there. I elk bugling one day when I was out there once last year. It's awesome. I caught a tiger muskie out there last year at Spinney. So you never know like what you're going to catch out there. But there are multiple people on. I haven't fished long enough to say it, so I don't know if it's happened every time, but it is common that there are going to be multiple pike over 32 inches caught. And they'll measure at 32 because the rules of the board. But that's just awesome. The length of pike that you're going to see out at these 2 places, and then the trout are insane. We had multiple trout over 25 inches at Spinney last year. Yeah. Just in the same tournament. It's awesome. So.
Yeah, it's those fisheries are just absolutely phenomenal. I grew up as kind of an inshore guy, and we just got a guy in my office that was just, he was dead set on not fishing in Colorado because he's an inshore guy, and there's just nothing here that compares to that. And I showed him that picture that I've got that you took from the side of that big pike where I'm holding it up, and it just like eclipses the side of my Outback. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll go fish for that."
Yeah. We were talking about that because we both fished the Gulf before. Yeah. And it's fun to go. It's a blast down there catching reds or whatever you're going after. But oh my gosh, like it's awesome. I had a video of the pike I caught last year. Like a kid in a candy store. It's awesome.
It is fun, especially when you get to some of those lakes that. There are the big pike in there, and it. I've seen some in Spinney that hit that northern area where it gets real shallow over just to the west of the guard shack. Yeah. And I've seen pike swimming through there chasing brown trout, and they look like sharks. Yeah. It's just awesome fisheries out there, and hitting them later in the season, man, it's a blast. Those fish are feeding hard. They're fighting good. Yeah. It's just a lot of fun. Yep. So the last one, closing out our in-person tournaments, is going to be September 23rd at Boyd for our last bass tournament of the season. With that one, we actually turned to our wonderful sponsor manager, Scott, who lives up there near that. That's one of his home lakes up in the north. We talked with him, trying to kind of hit that at the right spot, knowing we were going to do it later in the season, pushing it a little bit later in September. He talked about a late shad spawn, and showed us some of the pictures that he had and some of his YouTube videos and stuff. And I would agree with him that could be a very fun tournament. So I'm really excited about that one. I'm a big time. I love throwing in grass and stuff like that for bass with that topwater blow up. And he was showing me some of the pictures off the edge of the docks and stuff like that up there, and over near the boat ramp with the grass mats. And I was like, ooh, that's near and dear to my heart right there. That's those kind of conditions that I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested to see how that one goes.
Yeah. Well, Boyd's a little bit smaller. It's really unique in the fact that it's a bass lake that has grass in Colorado. Moving out here from living back in like Tennessee, Illinois, and Florida, it's nice to see some grass again and kind of get more into like that type of bass fishing. It's a little bit different than some of the other lakes out here where you don't really have all that structure. So definitely pretty cool place to go. Well, that covers it for our live tournaments. There are two other things I wanted to address just because we got our schedule laid out here. Josh Hines, our president, is putting together the Pueblo Cleanup Day. That's going to be on May 6th, and that's going out to Pueblo Reservoir. Take a kayak out there, go pick up some trash along the shore. You could pre-fish because the tournament's a couple weeks after.
Yep.
And then Josh is actually going to donate food for that. I think he's going to have some barbecue and waters out there, bring beverages that you'd like. But yeah, it'll be a good time just kind of giving back to Pueblo. It's one of the places that we probably spend the most time as anglers at in Colorado, especially for a tournament with so many people there. So it is nice to give back on a cleanup like that. And big thanks to Josh for providing food and water for that as well.
So correct me if I'm wrong, is he still doing the tournament entries?
Oh yeah, good point. Go ahead on that.
So Josh is also as generous soul as he is, which one, if you haven't had his brisket before, if that's what he's doing and you miss out on that, I feel bad for you. The man's brisket is top notch. But then also generous dude. He's actually donating an entry into both the bass and the multi-species tournament for Pueblo. So if you go down there, you fill a bag, you bring it back in, you'll be entered to win entries to the tournament. So super awesome. It's like Matt said, it's a chance to give back to a lake that a lot of us go down there pretty often. I mean, we were down there just a couple weeks ago. The wind dies down. It's been insane lately down here. But yeah, we hit Pueblo hard as a club. A lot of us go there. It's pretty much the closest big spot to the springs. And it gets hit pretty hard. So go down there, pick up a couple bags of trash, grab some good food, drink a beer, socialize, do a little pre-fishing, and be entered to win free tournament entries. So good times. Yeah,
absolutely. And then one that's even before that, which is, while it's not a CKFC event, we got a bunch of guys going and gals. So the All-American Kayak Classic is something that at the end of the year will qualify 2 teams worth, be the top 10 for bass and multi. We have 2 teams that can go down there. You're competing individually and then also as a team. This year it's out at Truman in Missouri. It's going to be a blast. It's a 2-day tournament. A lot of money there and some big trophies. They just, I don't know if you saw it, but they got pictures of the trophies there. The team trophy looks insane. I hope we bring it back to Colorado, and pretty confident we will. But yeah, that's coming up. So that's something as well that I didn't even know about last year. It's something that you can qualify. So if you place the top 10, you'll be qualified for that. You can go enter and represent Colorado.
Joshua Booth has done an absolutely killer job setting that up. He's worked with so many clubs. We actually have 3 sets going from Colorado. Our bass side, our multi side, and then also CKB is sending a group there as well. Last time I looked, out of like 42 or 43 anglers, and this was a few days ago, I think there were 14 or 15 Colorado anglers already signed up, and there's more that I know are signing up. So we're going to roll heavy into that tournament, and I hope Colorado absolutely kills it. That would be just amazing to watch. Some of our anglers do really good there. I think right now the lead's been Matt Arledge. I think he finished in 6th last year.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's, watch it, follow along on Tourney X, root for the guys. A lot of us are going to roll out there in our CKFC shirts and hats and stuff. And I think it's going to be an absolute blast. And like I said, the camaraderie in this club, we talk to each other, we set up housing together, things like that. Ronnie's been a big help with that. Alex, it's a big group effort really to get people out there and get people going to some of these bigger tournament series. And, this is an opportunity for our club to really go out there and meet some of these other clubs and not just talk about the tournament side, but also, what our clubs are doing for our communities and stuff like that.
Yep, absolutely. I'm super excited for it. We're gonna have a great time out there. A bunch of us have got like Airbnbs together, and like you were saying, so yeah, it's gonna be a good time, and we're gonna do a show out there. So at some point during the week, we're gonna just kind of set up the computer, and Lord knows what's
that
gonna
might
happen.
take a lot of editing.
We might, yeah. Maybe like edits will be done by the end of the year, but yeah, no, we'll have a good time. Everybody has a good time at these events. So those are the other 2 events we have. I think that about wraps it up for our actual schedule. We'll also have the end of the year, a banquet like we have at the end of the year. We'll push information out on that. But great time to get together. We're giving away 2 kayaks this year. Thanks to Native and Waterline, we're giving away a Native Slayer Max, the 12.5, and then thanks to Old Town, we are giving away a PDL 120, I believe. We already got it. You helped me unwrap it, make sure it was like a big shout out to like Old Town on how they wrap their kayaks. If they got shipped to my house, and they could have just thrown it off the truck. It was wrapped so well. We inspected
that was highly impressive.
Yeah, and then we threw it in Josh's garage. So when Josh gets back, he can deal with that. Have fun, buddy. But yeah, man. Also, let's give some congrats out to another Colorado native, Leslie. Just fished up at the Bassmaster Kayak Classic out there. Big congrats to her for qualifying, going out there and competing in some of the probably worst conditions that you could in a kayak. I think it was just freezing, raining, the whole time out there. And they had a massive cold front come through. Fishing was tough for everybody, but yeah, she's definitely representing Colorado proudly there. So
yeah, it's awesome. She won the state qualifier at Pueblo last year through CKV. She went out there, stepped out of the comfort zone of Colorado, what she was learning, because she's not been fishing for way too long. She went out there, I think she had a bit of coaching from Eric, and, she slugged it out, as best as she could. So kudos to her, stepping out of that comfort zone, traveling halfway across the country and competing in one of the biggest stages in kayak bass fishing right now. That is just absolutely awesome to see that.
Yeah. So yeah, congrats to her. I'm sure, we look forward to seeing her out again this year. She had some awesome fish. Was it Trinidad last year? Or you and her were both just like slaying big fish out there. So yeah, congrats, Leslie. And yeah, good job representing Colorado. Lastly, I just wanted to put a shout out. As I was a rookie last year, completely new to Colorado. I'm in the military. Jeremy's in the military. Josh is in the military. There's a ton of people in the military here. And not just if you are in the military, but if you are, or if you're just new to Colorado and you just got here and you're trying to figure out like, hey, is this something I want to do? I would say just dive in. You're going to meet some of the best people in Colorado. through this club. It is, the best thing that I've gotten a part of since I moved here, and I'm sure Jeremy and everybody else would say the same thing. Um, I was talking to Gene on his show, and he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's just no. It's like there's no tools, on a kayak compared to some of the other places that are out there, and it really is true. Everybody in the club's awesome, but even if if it's more than that, if you want to be a better angler, say you moved out here and you've never fished for walleye before, maybe you've never fished for smallmouth before, this is going to make you better. This is the best way to get better at something is by doing it. And you're going to be surrounded by people that are completely humble and just want you to do better as well. So, I mean, I've seen people go out pre-fishing and then Alex is on the back of his truck, like giving people baits to throw the next day for a tournament against him because he wants them to have a good time and catch fish and have that experience. You're not going to find better people, I would say, anywhere than the people that are out here in these clubs, whether it's, Alex,
Yeah.
Ronnie, yourself, and even, the first experience that I had in this club, I just signed up for one because my wife was like, hey, you should do this. And she probably regrets it completely because now
if only she had a time machine.
Right, because now I'm addicted to this. It's an addiction, but it's a great one. But yeah, I went down to John Martin, camped out there. My daughter went down with us as well, and at the end of like the pre-fishing day, I saw Ronnie sing and a couple other people out at the boat ramp, and we had decided like, hey, yeah, let's just go grab our crappie rods, and we caught crappie for like an hour. Just nonstop. Just some of the best people you'll meet. So I know that's not like the point of this, this podcast here. It's more on the schedule for the year. But hey, if you're thinking like, hey, is this something that I'm maybe going to do or not? It's worth it. You're gonna learn a lot more about how to catch fish, whether it's pike, trout, walleye, bass, perch, crappie, whatever's around here, and you're going to get better and you're going to make some great friends out on the water. So
yeah, it's definitely something special. And if you're brand new to it and you're just trying to learn, man, highlight that May multi-species for Pueblo.
Yeah.
And then the spinning and 11-mile trips in July and September. You will learn so much about fishing in those tournaments because of the vast like array of what people are doing. At the Pueblo tournament, you're going to have, bass, walleye, maybe trout. That's still in discussion. Justin, we got to talk about this trout thing. Nobody wants it.
Oh boy,
for Pueblo, man.
That's all I caught last
Pueblo
time.
For the trout, man, that'll kill you.
That's all I caught.
You get out to Spinney and 11-mile, and you're seeing people throwing bass gear for trout and pike. It's a whole different animal, like completely different from what you're doing, for the trout or something at, Pueblo or down at Trinidad. It's so different. But the best part about it, like you mentioned, every fisherman lies, about size of the fish and stuff like that. But man, when we get to the end of the tournament, we've got the top 5 up there. We've got some guys giving true nuggets of information to people, talking about what they were using. I honestly literally learned how to walleye fish from one of the founding members of this club, Dave Kuzer. I had no clue. He had some posts on the club that were shared, and like it gave me so much information, and I ended up winning the multi-species at Trinidad not long after his post of giving like just top information. It's just something special that, I've been in fishing forums and groups and stuff like that online and in person, growing up in Florida since, the mid 90s. And I've never seen an organization or club like this. Every now and then we'll get a little bit of drama or something on the chats or something, usually because somebody's worried about someone else's safety or something like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I've never seen a club operate like this. and it is something truly special that if you're on the fence and get involved, dive in, head first or just dip a toe in. But that May Pueblo multi-species, and then pushing into the September and July Spinney and 11 Mile, man, those are something special, and you will learn so much and become a better angler for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. I think that's about all we've got for this one. This is a shorter one. Coming up, you mentioned Dave, and we're actually going to do a show with him and Johnny, some of the founders here, with Alex Rojas. I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm just going to be a fly on the wall and kind of just take it all in with them. I was really impressed with Johnny's speech last year at the awards. You can just tell, the heart that they had when they started this, what they wanted to do. We are a nonprofit, and where they've come from giving $750 the first year to $7,500 last year, and continuing to do that. So that's going to be probably our next show. We have a few other ones that we're considering as well. Just kind of put the schedule together. This whole thing is new to us here, and we're also going to do a show with Gene, True Patriot Outfitters, who is going to be the charity we're going with this year. They're going to be providing first responders and veterans kayak fishing trips, and they're even giving them gear because Gene's just done a great job, as well as kind of like Scott is, with the sponsor stuff, just being able to really improve what he's doing and expand it out. So at first it was like, hey, I'm going to take a couple people out. Now it's like, hey, I'm going to give them some gear to go home with and stuff. So we're really looking forward to supporting them at the end of the year. It really aligns well with, obviously what we do with kayak fishing here in Colorado. And so many of us are in the military or first responders or whatever. So excited about that. Lastly, I don't want to leave anybody off. So thank you to all of our sponsors here. Come out to these tournaments. We're going to have tons of giveaways to include anything from some baits all the way up to kayaks that we're giving away. So yeah, come on out. But thank you so much to all the sponsors here. It's just like it maximizes our ability to give to this charity at the end of the year and to really make a difference. So
they give back and allows us to give back, and it's absolutely amazing the relationship we have. Anywhere from our long-term sponsors, Sergio with Southern Colorado Clinic, Waterline Sports now 2 years in a row with kayak giveaways, but they've been a long-term sponsor now for I think 4 years. Shields has been absolutely huge ever since they opened in Johnstown. They've been supporting us. It's just amazing the relationship that we have with some of these companies. Even some of our new sponsors that jump in, like Amped, Stealth has been on board for a while, but the stuff that they give to us, it's just phenomenal what they do and what they allow us to give back through their giving to the club and their support. It's just super special.
Yep, absolutely. And hey, it's tournament season, guys. It's gals. It's March 24th as we're shooting this, and then April 1st we open up the monthlies, and then right after that we're getting into it on the 15th at John Martin. So we're excited to get started on this, and man, just look forward to it. If you got anything else, man, hey, see you guys on the water.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Look forward to getting out there, seeing everybody. Look forward to hopefully having a safe year out there for kayaks. If you go out there during the monthlies, be safe, be smart, take care of yourself, be prepared for the conditions because it's still wild out there in early April. It's not slowing down, so just be careful going out there. And Matt, thank you so much for putting this together. Man, I've watched all the episodes of the podcast so far, and this is number 2 in a row for me being on. Thank you for putting this together, and thanks for having me on, man. I love it.
Hey, thanks for everything you're doing, man. This club's awesome, and anything I do to help, I'm here for it. So, and if anybody else wants to be on the show, and if you got something cool you want to talk about, just hit me up. I'm on our Facebook page or wherever you want to try to get a hold of me. It's fine, but yeah, we'll see you guys out here soon, and everybody take care. Get your fishing licenses and state park passes if you decide that's what you want to do. April 1st is a fishing license. I guess they expire on the 1st. So go ahead and get those, and yeah, we'll see you guys out there.